Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 652 based on novel. So let's start. Deep into the night, the torches flickered and teams of soldiers patrolled the barracks. The entire camp looked like a heavily armored city and also gave off a sense of order. Outside the camp, there was no longer any music. It was completely calm. Lights were extinguished in most of the tents. Only a few remained, and the figures inside could be seen. In particular, the light in the general's tent was bright and there were many guards around the tent. The old general, Nan, was standing next to a map and frowning. There was only him here, and it was very quiet, with only the sound of the candle burning. King Nan. HMPH, such a person is not worthy of being called King Nan. The old general looked at the map and coldly snorted. For some unknown reason, he had a strange feeling toward the name, King Nan. It was as if no one in the world was qualified to be called King Nan. Oh? Then who deserved to be called King Nan? A teasing voice came from behind the old general. The old general's body trembled, but he soon recovered to normal. He turned around to see a white-clothed and white-haired youth standing not far away, staring at him with a smile. Before this old man becomes a king, no one is qualified to be called King Nan. The old general didn't panic at all as he calmly sat there. Sit. The old general pointed ahead. Wang Lin looked at him and let out a sigh of admiration. It was extremely rare for someone to remain so calm when a stranger suddenly appeared. In particular, this calmness was not fake, but true calmness. Wang Lin faintly smiled and sat opposite of the old general. Do you have wine? Wang Lin laughed. How can there be no wine in an army? The old general laughed and shouted a command to the people outside. Someone, bring wine. A respectful reply came from outside and then a few soldiers came in. Upon seeing Wang Lin, they were all startled, especially the guards outside. Their expressions changed drastically. They hadn't seen anyone entering. The old general's expression remained the same as he waved his hand and said, "Put down the wine and leave." The guard silently put down a few jugs of wine beside Wang Lin and the old general before they all retreated. General Nan has such strong composure. Wang Lin picked up a jug of wine and took a big gulp. For Sir to silently come here, that means even if the soldiers came, they wouldn't be able to stop you, so what's the point, the old general said as he picked up a jug of wine, broke the seal, and drank a lot. The smile on Wang Lin's face became even wider. He was truly happy. It could be said that ever since coming to the immortal astral continent, occasions where he felt this happy had been rare. This was different from finding Li Muwen's soul or being with Xian Luo. This was the indescribable feeling of meeting an old friend. This kind of feeling made him feel very relaxed and very happy. Figures flashed outside the tent and footsteps echoed. In just a few words, countless soldiers surrounded the tent and all the generals were here. They all looked like they were going to face a powerful enemy, but none of them dared to enter, they could only surround the tent. They were all nervous, but their killing intent didn't decrease a bit, it all condensed together. This caused the countless torches in the barracks to become dim. Time passed, and in a flash, it was about to be dawn. The soldiers had been outside for almost the whole night. If not for the laughter coming from inside, they would have rushed inside. However, the laughter just made them even more confused. Interesting. So Wang has been to so many places. This old man has heard about the mountain Se, but it is too far away. As a mortal, I can't go there. The old general put down an empty jug and picked up another one. If you want, you can. Wang Lin drank the spicy wine as he looked at his old friend and smiled. Oh. So Wang should be a cultivator. The old general's eyes lit up. Wang Lin nodded but didn't speak. He continued to drink wine. Time flowed once more until dawn. The darkness faded and the sun gradually rose into the sky. Wang Lin and the old general had been drinking wine for the whole night. Wang Lin talked a lot about his experiences on the immortal astral continent. He talked about the Heavenly Bull continent, the Green Devil continent, and the Ancestral City. He even talked about everything that had happened in the ancient clan. When he said how he had found Li Muwen's soul fragments, tears fell, and when he talked about how he had killed the ancient Tao Emperor and traded a life for his teacher's grace, his expression became dim. He talked about everything, until the point he left the ancient clan and returned to the celestial clan. The old general listened to all of this. He could not imagine what kind of identity this person had. If what this person had said was true, then this person must have a shocking identity in the celestial clan. However, why had this person appeared in his tent in the middle of the night to drink and talk with him? In the old general's mind, this person before him was slowly becoming familiar. It was as if sense of familiarity was hidden inside the depths of his memories and was being revealed now. When he saw Wang Lin's tears and sadness, he also felt it. It was as if he had personally witnessed the story between Wang Lin and Li Muwen. I can't find Li Qianmai. Situ, I looked for a long time, but I could not find her, Wang Lin murmured as he bitterly drank wine. There were some things he could not talk about with others, but he could with Situ. Situ, who is that? The old general revealed a complicated expression when he heard this name. He had heard Wang Lin say this name a lot. Wang Lin put down an empty wine jug and picked up another. Throughout the night, they had asked people to bring in wine several times. I have a good friend called Situ, Wang Lin muttered as he looked at the old general. The old general was filled with confusion as he looked at Wang Lin and said, to become your good friend, this person named Situ must also be a cultivator. Wang Lin revealed a smile as he softly said, he is a cultivator that wants to become a king. If you want to hear his story, then you have to start from a place called Suzaku and a rank 3 cultivation country called Jiao. Wang Lin's voice echoed inside the tent. The old general listened and the confusion in his eyes increased. Time passed. When morning arrived and the sun shined brightly outside, Wang Lin's voice was still going. Li Qianmai, Situ Nan, Qing Shui. They have all been reincarnated in the immortal astral continent. I left my mark on them, and that is the only way to find them. Wang Lin took a sip of wine as he looked at the old general and smiled. The old general silently pondered. His body trembled, and after a long time, he suddenly opened his eyes. I'm Situ Nan. He stared at Wang Lin and his voice was hesitant. Wang Lin looked at the old general and slowly nodded. You're Situ Nan, I'm Wang Lin. Wang Lin, the old general muttered, and after a long time, he began to laugh. As he laughed, tears flowed out. He normally wouldn't believe this, but the feeling of familiarity coming from his soul and everything he had heard about the cave world made it impossible for him not to believe it. He didn't believe a celestial cultivator would come deceive a mortal like him. So I have already reincarnated many times on the immortal astral continent, and this time I'm Sainan, Wuxian country's great general. The old general laughed even more as his tears continued to flow. He believed all of this, but it was also this belief that made it difficult to accept. Out of the 500,000 soldiers outside, many have been following me since their grandfather's generation. Their grandfathers died and then their fathers followed me. Even many of their fathers have died, but they continue to follow me. Now you tell me I'm Situ Nan. I'm Situ Nan, who wanted to become a king. If I'm not Wuxian Sainan, then what are all those soldiers going to do? Due to the old general's voice, the curtain was opened and the soldiers rushed in. However, one shout from the old general drove them all out again. Reincarnation. Reincarnation. One reincarnation has so many restrictions. I have reincarnated several times. The old general was sitting on his seat as he looked at Wang Lin with a complicated expression, and his laughter turned bitter. I'm sorry. This was my own choice back then. I chose to reincarnate on the immortal astral continent, and that has nothing to do with you. Wang Lin silently pondered as he continued to drink wine. Help me unseal the memories of my previous life. The old general continued to drink until he emptied 3 jugs. His eyes were bloodshot and he looked drunk as he stared at Wang Lin. When late night came again, Wang Lin left the camp with a complicated expression. He floated in the air and looked back at the camp proudly. When he looked back, the old general opened the curtains and looked up at him. Wang Lin, once this old man completes this reincarnation with no regrets and becomes King Nan, I'll go and find you, the old general said. His voice was filled with arrogance and vigor. Wang Lin revealed a smile and began to laugh. His laughter became louder and louder. Situ, once you have been a king for long enough, we will drink again. Wang Lin turned into a ray of light and disappeared into the world. Boys, organize the army. First bring that damn fellow King Nan over. This old man has been unhappy with him for a long time. He dares to call himself King Nan. This old man has thought it through. I'm going to be King Nan. The old general seemed to become a lot younger and laughed. Reincarnation. What exactly is reincarnation? I thought reincarnation was the heavens, but in truth, reincarnation is more than the heavens. Wang Lin walked through the sky and the appearance of Zhu Yu, Situ Nan, and the madman appeared in his mind. The madman's choice may not be reincarnation, but Zhu Yu and Situ chose reincarnation. They didn't choose to live, because they had chosen to integrate into life here. They had too many connections they were unwilling to give up. Zhu Yu could not give up her parents and affection in this life. Situ could not give up on the lives of the soldiers that followed him. A reincarnation is a lifetime, and one has many ties in life. How could it be all cut so easily? This is the power of reincarnation. It can make one unable to free themselves or not want to free themselves. There was confusion in Wang Lin's eyes, and he seemed to gain more enlightenment in this confusion. Reincarnation is the heavens and is also a mirror. The self in the mirror is reincarnation. The confusion in Wang Lin's eyes gradually dissipated and was replaced with clarity. His understanding of reincarnation was steadily growing toward completion after seeing Zhu Yu and Situ Nan. The narrow road below was like a line that peaked into the heavens. I wonder what the others' choices will be. Wang Lin looked into the distance, let out a sigh, and walked away. Celestial Clan, a mountain range in the northern continent. There was a dense forest here, and it was very dangerous. There was a cave there without anyone around, only birds and beasts. However, when the cave appeared here years ago, no beasts had dared to come here. The cave was extremely luxurious, and countless night pearls made this place very bright. However, due to how quiet it was, the whole place felt cold. At this moment, there was a cultivator sitting in the master room in the cave. The cultivation didn't look old and his body was like a dwarf's. His head was also very large. Compared to his head, his small body looked out of place. This big-headed cultivator was gloomy, and as he cultivated, the entire cave became cold. Big head, as the cultivator cultivated, a voice suddenly appeared and echoed inside the cold cave. The heart of the cultivator trembled and he suddenly opened his eyes. He didn't hesitate to spit out a ray of green light that flew at the white figure that had appeared in the cave. Wang Lin revealed a strange expression. The green light was a centipede, and it rushed toward him with its mouth open. Wang Lin pointed at the centipede and it froze in the air. The big-headed cultivator was shocked. This centipede had been refined in his origin soul and therefore could even hold off someone stronger than him. This could give him time to escape or attack again. However, it had just been easily frozen by the person before him. He couldn't even tell what spell the other person had used. Ma Dao, are you going to kill me? Big Head let out a roar. His body rumbled and a large amount of fog spread out. He was about to escape. Ma Dao? Wang Lin was startled and pointed at the fog. A ray of light penetrated the fog and landed between the eyebrows of the big-headed cultivator as he tried to escape. Big Head's body trembled and confusion appeared in his eyes. Various memories appeared in his mind. At the same time, Wang Lin's hand reached out and the power of the world around the mountain condensed into his hand to form a small sword. This sword was formed by the power of the world and created from Wang Lin's faith spell, so it was an absolute treasure. With a toss, the small sword flew into the fog and stabbed into the side of the wall. Deep inside the fog was Big Head, who was awakening his memories. Wang Lin revealed a gentle smile as he waved his sleeve and power of the world gathered to turn a large amount of pills into a gourd. He placed it on the ground and left. After a long time, the fog dispersed and Big Head walked out with a complex expression and in a daze. He sat there, looking at the empty cave for a long time before he raised his head and muttered. "Master," he saw the sword that frightened him and the gourd filled with pills. Tears flowed down from his eyes. Also in the northern continent, but in another continent. A dozen rays of light were flying through the sky as a ray of crystal light dashed by. The cultivators were caught off guard as the crystal light disappeared between them. No one noticed that when the crystal light disappeared, it entered the spot between the eye. These cultivators were suspicious for a while, and after debating about it, they rushed forward once more. The child in red's eyes were filled with confusion, and after a few hours, the group rested on the mountainside. The confusion in his eyes dissipated and was replaced with a complicated emotion. "I'm Master Hong Xan." The boy in red looked at the sky and slowly smiled. He took a deep breath as he looked at the land before him, filled with excitement. Eastern continent, in the Nan-Enai continent, Wang Lin briefly passed by a small sect. There weren't many cultivators in this sect, only about 1,000 people. The location of their sect wasn't very good and the spiritual energy here was not dense. As the edict had been sent by the Grand Empyreans to prepare for the opening of the immemorial god realm, undercurrents had begun to move across the continent. This made it so the smaller sects could no longer live in peace and had to rely on the larger sects to survive. The war was about to start, and a small sect like this would find it difficult to continue in the war between the ancients and celestials. Shen Bao was the master of this sect, and his cultivation was extraordinary. He was very anxious as he didn't know what the future held or if his sect would still exist after the war in a few hundred years. He had expended a lot of effort to climb to his current position and become the master of a sect. He didn't want to give it up, but right now, the only path before him was to submit to a stronger power. However, the powers he could choose from would have different consequences, all of them equally serious. The elders of the sect also had different opinions than him on this matter, and there were signs of division. While Shen Bao was anxious, a young man wearing white with white hair arrived outside the sect. He walked into the sect. Wang Lin found Shen Bao, and a few hours later, Wang Lin left. After he left, Shen Bao stood outside the hall and looked at the sky with confusion in his eyes. After a long time, the confusion disappeared and turned into determination. During this period of time, Wang Lin saw almost all of his old friends from the cave world. He unlocked the memories of some, and for certain people, he gave them power to decide. However, no matter the end result, Wang Lin would leave behind something to protect them, because they came from the same cave world. More accurately, they were all people that belonged to the Seven Dao sect. The Sun and Moon sect, the strongest sect of the Tianfang continent. Their sect had more than 100,000 members and was one of the 9 sects and 13 factions of the Eastern continent. There were many geniuses in the Sun and Moon sect. However, none of them could compare to a woman named Qing Hong. Her talent was difficult to find even once every 10,000 years. Hundreds of years ago, she became a disciple of the Sun and Moon sect. In a short period of less than 1,000 years, she reached the 3rd step and was at the peak of Nirvana Void. She was only 1 step from reaching Spirit Void. This was greatly related to the Sun and Moon sect fully developing her, but this also showed how important she was to the sect. The Golden Exalt head elder of the sect was in closed-door cultivation year-round. Rumor had it that she had the power of an Empyrean Exalt but had never gone to the Empyrean trial. This person had personally accepted this woman as her disciple, and every few years, she would come out to give this woman pointers. Sometimes, she would even bring this woman into closed-door cultivation with her. This woman was called the Saintess of the Sun and Moon sect. Many people looked up to her and, due to her beauty, she was loved by many of the disciples. However, this woman was simply too outstanding and her personality was simply too cold. Over the hundreds of years, she never chose a Tao partner, but the more she was like this, the more the disciples of the Sun and Moon sect looked up to her. In particular, the children of the elders and those disciples who felt qualified never stopped their pursuit of her. On this day, this woman named Qing Hong left closed-door cultivation. The clouds outside were dark and thunder was rumbling as if it was going to rain. The thunder made her restless, as if something was going to happen. She stood outside her own cave as she looked at the dark clouds and the purplish red light from the sun. There was confusion in her eyes. A beautiful butterfly flew from the distance while facing the violent wind. It floated before her and attracted her attention. She liked the color red and butterflies. The people in the sect only knew of her first like, but no one knew of the second. Looking at the flying butterfly, the confusion in the eyes of the beautiful woman became even stronger. Like the other people who had reincarnated, there was confusion in her dreams. She always felt like she didn't belong to this world. This feeling made her indifference extraordinary. Thunder rumbled and rain fell onto the earth, forming a curtain of rain. She was wearing a red dress that made her look like a red butterfly from a distance. She stood there with the butterfly before her and seemed like she was going to follow the wind and rain into some place unknown. Red butterfly, a soft voice came from behind the woman. Inside the rain curtain, the soft rain was like a gentle mutter. As the water scattered, the sound of the wind fused with it and formed a whispered dream that came from a previous life. The butterfly around Qing Hong landed in her hand and she gently gave it shelter from the rain and wind. It was as if she was the red butterfly, but it was unknown who in this world could shelter her from the same wind and rain. She turned around and saw a stranger in white under the oil paper umbrella. Red butterfly. That name is very beautiful. Qing Hong looked at the white-haired youth and smiled. This smile was like a lonely rose in full bloom. If you'd like, you can become red butterfly. Wang Lin looked at the beautiful woman. What happened back on planet Suzaku appeared in his eyes. The woman smiled slightly but didn't speak. She looked at Wang Lin. Their gazes met in the rain and lingered for a long time. Qing Hong looked at Wang Lin and softly said, "I met you in my dream. When I became a third-step cultivator, I met you in my dream. Do you believe in reincarnation?" Wang Lin's gaze moved from the woman to the rain falling from the sky. "Do you believe in it?" the woman questioned back. "I?" Wang Lin's voice stopped, and after a long time, he nodded. "I believe in it." The woman turned to look at the rain and softly said, "If even white-haired Ascendant Empyrean believes it, then I also believe it. I always felt like I was waiting for someone to give me an answer. When I reached the third step, I knew the person I was waiting for was you. Reincarnation, I always wondered if I had a previous life. Otherwise, why would I like red or butterflies? I also thought about why I would like something. It doesn't come from thin air, and if it's not this life, it's the previous life. I was called Red Butterfly in my previous life, correct?" The woman didn't turn her head and her voice was calm. "However, in my dreams of my previous life, there was another previous life. In that life, I also saw you." Wang Lin was startled. Qing Hong looked at the horizon as she said, "In that lifetime, I remember you asking me a question. A question that I only got the answer to now. Do you want to hear it?" Wang Lin silently pondered for a moment and said, "What question did I ask you? Do you want to keep your current life's memory or restore your previous life's memory?" Qing Hong turned around and looked at Wang Lin. In her beautiful eyes, there was a light Wang Lin could not see through. Qing Hong sounded emotional as she softly muttered, "A past life and the current life can coexist, but once the memories of the past are restored, the current life gains a lot of baggage. If it's not restored, then I won't know, and if I know, I can't forget it. That is my understanding." Wang Lin's eyes were filled with confusion as he looked at the woman before him and asked, "How did you answer me then?" Qing Hong's expression was complicated as she whispered, "Forget the past and only remember now. If I continue to persist time and time again, it will bring pain and confusion." "I understand." Wang Lin let out a sigh. He knew that Red Butterfly remembered something, but what she had said about the life before the previous life caused Wang Lin's heart to tremble. He thought about the dream Dao on planet Suzaku, where it was also in the curtain of rain that a woman appeared before him holding a baby girl. There was a red butterfly in the rain curtain, finding shelter from the rain under a leaf. As the woman was thinking of a name for the baby girl, he muttered the words, "Red Butterfly." Wang Lin silently pondered as he turned and walked into the distance. I have already forgotten a lot about that life. I only remember you and this question. And another. He said something to you. I still remember that line. Qing Hong closed her eyes and her voice was soft. What line? Wang Lin didn't pause as he walked into the rain. Heart's dead, already forgotten. Inside the rain, Wang Lin's body trembled and he suddenly turned around. He was filled with shock. This shock came from his soul. The oil paper umbrella in his hand fell on the ground and was soaked in the rain. Moji. Planet Suzaku appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. When he was a low-level cultivator, it was also during a rainy night that he met a bald man whose eyes were filled with confusion. He looked at Wang Lin and said one line. This rain is born in the sky and dies on the earth. The process in between is life. Heart's dead, already forgotten. These words echoed in Wang Lin's mind, and the gaze of the bald man appeared clearly in his mind. Wang Lin could not understand it before, but, looking back now, he could clearly feel the pain and sorrow. Wang Lin left with confusion and the answer he wasn't willing to think about. Qing Hong looked at where Wang Lin had gone and stood there for a long time. It wasn't until the rain had disappeared that she opened her hands. The butterfly circled her a few times before flying off into the distance. When will you forget? Perhaps you would never choose this. Qing Hong lowered her head and walked into her cave, lonely and crestfallen. Wang Lin silently pondered. Reincarnation. When I unlocked the memories of the people in reincarnation, I didn't wonder if I'm also in a reincarnation. If I'm really inside a reincarnation cycle, then who will unlock my memories? When Wang Lin thought of this, he laughed and continued to laugh until tears fell. Reincarnation, this is reincarnation. But even if I'm inside a reincarnation, I'll never choose to forget, never. Wang Lin laughed. He suddenly thought of the figure that was roaring at the sky that he saw during his ancient Tao three soul splits. The words from that figure echoed in his ears once more. Heaven and earth. What's the point of being at the top of the heavens and earth? What's the point of being worshipped by all? What's the point of passing endless scriptures? If the world is like this, why not destroy it? If all life is like this, why not disappear? If the scriptures are like this, why not end it? Since it's like this, I'll use my own method to make the sky close its eyes, to make the earth sleep, to make the underworld river flow backwards, to make reincarnation stop, to make the world no longer exist. Wang Lin muttered these words as they echoed in his ears. This voice grew louder and louder until the sky shook, the earth trembled, and a storm was set off on the immortal astral continent. At the Celestial Clan's eastern continent, in the southwest part of the Lin Hua continent, there was a large city. This city looked like a giant beast laying there and gave off a majestic aura. In a remote location of the city, there was a blacksmith shop. Business here was good enough for the family to live well. This was because the owner of the shop treated his work very seriously and had gained a good reputation over the years. The master was a burly man who looked to be around 30 years ago. He was very strong and his upper body was exposed as he hammered the iron. Sounds of metal colliding came from the shop. The backyard of the shop was where the family lived. The burly man had a beautiful wife and an 8-year-old daughter. The little girl was in the shop and didn't mind the heat. She would often bring the man towels to wipe away the sweat. Whenever that happened, the burly man would reveal a happy smile. He was very satisfied with his current life. Although it was simple, he was very content with his lovely daughter and loving life. He wanted to do his best for his family, to make their lives better and his daughter's future better. In order to achieve this goal, he worked hard as a blacksmith and did everything seriously. His life was simple, but there was a warmth he cherished. He had been born in this city and had a lot of playmates he had grown up with. Although they all had their own families, they would often drink together, laugh together, and recall the past together. At night, when he was asleep, he would have a dream. In the dream, he swept across the world. He seemed to be a celestial emperor who led people to fight against his enemies. In the dream, there was separation, blood, and sorrow. In the dream, he also had a daughter named Shuang. The same name as his current daughter. However, this dream was not real. Whenever he woke up from the dream, he would look lost and look out the window at the night sky. His heart desired for everything in the dream, but when he looked at his sleeping wife and his 8-year-old daughter, who still didn't dare to sleep alone, he would smile and forget everything about the dream. If he had a choice, he would choose his own family and not the life in his dream. He didn't know that there was someone looking at him from the night sky as he looked at his family. Wang Lin looked at the blacksmith's family. He could feel Qing Lin's happiness and satisfaction. Qing Lin was a celestial emperor in the cave world, and now he had been reincarnated as a mortal, but he had obtained happiness and warmth. Wang Lin was very envious as he looked at Qing Lin, and after a long time, he left. Like Red Butterfly, his choice is to forget the past, forget his previous life and become immersed in his current life, going through the cycle again and cherishing each time. Their choices are the right ones. My choice is also the right one. Wang Lin muttered to himself. This video will end here.